Do you want to set the scene? How on earth, how did this happen?
Yeah.
This is quite an extraordinary story, really.
Anyway, 4 years ago I sat listening to our research team who were talking about the plight of the Buick Swan and the fact that in 2012 there'd been generally declared a bit of an emergency across the flyway because the population was declining really rapidly. They hadn't really managed to make a huge amount of progress, and that was because there were some really big problems. One of them was that the species migrates across so many countries, so there's political boundaries. They also migrate across some of the most remote parts of the planet, and it's very hard to get there to know what might be going wrong there. We already had a bit of an idea about some of the threats to them. For example, about a third of the birds that are living today have got shot in their bodies. So they've been shot at some time. What we don't know is where that's happening. So basically you have this incredible bird. We knew some of the problems. There were still a lot of gaps in there. So I basically decided, it was about maybe half a year later, I sat talking to a paramotorist friend. I didn't mention I already fly a paramotor for WWT. I don't know if anybody knows what a paramotor is. Anyone know what it is?
But we're going to see it in the film. We get to see a little bit in the film, I think.
Okay, so that's pretty much what it is. With the advances in the wing technology, I could now fly about the same speed as the Swans, but I also have a lot of the same risks and threats, like the weather conditions are very similar. In low visibility, power lines become a bit of a problem. Hopefully I don't get shot very often, but yeah, there were many of the things that were similar. So I basically cooked up this mad idea that I could fly the entire migration route with the birds, which would mean I would be able to stop at all those remote places. The best thing about a paramotor is that you take off and land on your feet, so I didn't need runways. And up on that whole north coast of Russia, there's no roads, let alone runways, and no agriculture, so no fields or anything. Food in the remote areas, I had a fishing line. There were berries everywhere, mushrooms everywhere, and the odd reindeer breeder who gave us some lovely raw 2-week-old rotten reindeer, which was pretty special as well. And porridge oats, so we had a bit of all sorts. I had to convince WWT and all of our trustees that it was sensible to do this trip, and there were several parts of it that were considered unsurvivable, like water landings and flying in areas where you had no idea. Nobody had ever flown a paramotor up in that region before. So that was me proving that I could do the worst possible things to my wing, which was break it and make it collapse, and recover it.
Wow. Any other stories like that? Any other stories in particular that were particularly challenging? Oh, we could be here all night. We've got time.
3 months of flying across Russia and 10 other countries. It was there was one particularly lovely occasion, which actually wasn't even with swans. It was with a couple of white-fronted geese. Has anyone seen the white-fronted geese at Slimbridge? They're one of the reasons that Peter Scott started Slimbridge in the first place. Flying across the tundra in the middle of kind of nothing, nobody around at all, and except for 2 geese in the distance. And we flew along to sort of about 100 metres away for a while, and then all at once they kind of turned and started flying towards me. And I just had a last-minute panic of going, oh God, they can't see the lines because my lines are so fine. So I was just about to turn away from them. And, but they tucked in behind the tip of my wing and flew as though I was the lead bird.
Lead bird.
Which was lovely.